If you're trying to find a romantic partner today, you're probably familiar with the highly exhausting modern ritual of dating. You download smartphone apps, scroll through profiles of complete strangers, write witty bio descriptions, and spend money on expensive dinner dates, hoping to make a spark. We treat dating like a highly complex modern social puzzle. But on the timeline of human history, finding a mate is one of our oldest, most successful survival strategies. Long before the invention of Tinder, restaurant dates, or diamond rings, our ancestors managed to court, bond, and build lifelong partnerships. But they didn't do it with sweet talk or expensive gifts. For 99% of our history, getting a partner was a high-stakes biological negotiation based on survival, cooperation, and food. So how did ancient humans actually get a girlfriend? And why did we evolve away from the brutal, muscle-bound mating battles of other primates? The story begins by looking at our closest living relatives, chimpanzees and gorillas, whose mating systems are defined by raw dominance. In a gorilla troop, a single massive silverback male controls a harem of multiple females by brute force, physically fighting off any rival males who dare to approach. In chimpanzee groups, mating is highly competitive, chaotic, and often violent. In these systems, size is everything. Our earliest hominid ancestors, like Australopithecus, followed a similar path. We know this because of sexual dimorphism, the difference in size between males and females. Prehistoric male hominids were up to 50% larger than females, indicating that their mating system was a brutal, physical battle of raw muscle and harem control. But around 1.8 million years ago, with the rise of Homo erectus, everything changed. Suddenly, the massive size difference between human males and females plummeted. Males and females became closer in size, indicating a massive evolutionary shift, the collapse of the harem, and the birth of cooperative pair bonding. Why did this happen? It happened because our babies became too helpless. As we grew giant brains and stood upright, our babies had to be born premature. A single prehistoric mother could not gather food, protect a highly vulnerable infant, and travel miles a day completely alone. She needed help. And human males ran a genetic calculation. Instead of wasting immense energy fighting other males for multiple partners, a male could guarantee the survival of his own genes by sticking around, protecting one female, and helping raise her baby. Pair bonding, the nuclear family, was born not out of sentimentality, but out of absolute biological necessity. But once we transitioned from brute force harems to cooperative partnerships, how did a male actually convince a female to choose him? He did it with the original prehistoric dinner date, the provisioning hypothesis. In a world of raw survival, the ultimate romantic gesture wasn't a bouquet of flowers. It was calorie-dense food. A male would go out, harvest wild honey from a high cliff, find a patch of sweet berries, or scavenge rich bone marrow from a carcass, and bring it directly to a female. By sharing this high-value food, the male was proving his resourcefulness, his hunting ability, and his willingness to invest in her and her future offspring. It was a physical promise of partnership. They also courted through social grooming and creativity. Our ancestors spent hours gently picking twigs, dirt, and bugs out of each other's hair. This physical contact releases a massive flood of oxytocin, lowers heart rates, and communicates safety. It was how they built trust. But as we grew larger brains, we also began to show off our cognitive intelligence. A male would show off his manual dexterity by carving an incredibly symmetrical, beautiful stone hand axe, or play a simple melody on a flute carved from a hollow bird bone by the campfire. These weren't just hobbies. They were honest biological signals. They showed the female that his brain was healthy, his hands were steady, and his genes were strong. What's remarkable is that prehistoric hunter-gatherer relationships were highly equal and fluid. In nomadic tribes, women gathered up to 70% of the group's calories, giving them immense social power and complete freedom of choice. Partnerships were based on mutual respect and cooperative utility. It was only during the Neolithic Revolution, when we settled down to farm, that marriage became a rigid financial transaction of land, dowries, and arranged political alliances. Before the invention of property, dating was a simple, beautiful partnership of equals, huddled close to the fire. We built a modern world of complex dating rules and digital algorithms. but our hearts still seek the ancient connection of the camp. We survive because we chose to share our food, quiet our aggression, and walk the long road of life together.